A perennial all-star that needs no introduction is the Hyundai Palisade, one of the best two-row crossovers money could buy over the last 5 years. Here we are with the new generation for 2026 with retro styling, 2 powertrains, a better interior, more technology. And this year, for 2026, the Hyundai Palisade is on my list of nominees for Car of the Year. In today's video, we're going to go over the pros and cons that makes up the Hyundai Palisade for this vehicle, why it is a great choice in its class, and then go over the cons that could hurt this vehicle in our Car of the Year award category. So if you're ready, then I'm ready. Let's dive right into this video. Now, as always, I want to give a huge shout and thank you to McGovern Hyundai here in Danvers, Massachusetts for letting come down here to check out the Hyundai Palisade. Their link will be in the description below, so you can check out their extensive Hyundai inventory. So while we're outside, let's check out the exterior for the 2026 Hyundai Palisade for our first pro. And that's going to be the retro and unique styling here for this generation. Some people may have felt that the first generation Palisade was just a bit too boring, wasn't really exciting, maybe a bit too mainstream. Well, you can't say that here for 2026. Hyundai decided to go with more of a mid-century modern look for the exterior, and with that you get this massive front grille in gloss black with some chrome accents, which I think is a nice touch here for this SUV. It looks a bit more luxurious than it did before. Also, you have the vertical headlights and daytime running lights, draws your attention here. Yes, it doesn't look like those headlights are functional, but they most certainly are, and it's a nice classy touch here that we don't really find in this market, especially from a mainstream manufacturer. For the lower portion of the front bumper, you have more gloss black trim here and some contrasting accents that match the daytime running light design. Love to see it. Then as you make your way over to the side profile, a full paint finish when you go with the calligraphy, so that way you get more of a luxury look for this model. Also these massive tires, which will create a bit of road noise, but I don't think it's too much of an issue here for a vehicle like this with its refinement and its overall quality with the suspension and chassis. And as you make your way to the final third of this model, what I really like is this sloping rear window and the color contrasting accent once again. Kind of reminds me of a Cadillac Escalade IQ or maybe even a Range Rover product, just the way it's shaped. It's not boxy, it's not boring here. The color contrasting accents will make its way to the lower portion of the rear bumper, so some continuity here with this vehicle up front. And then you will have the taillights in a vertical design too, so everything looks really congruent here and also classy as well. You're going to have the Palisade badge being written out on the liftgate. We see a lot of that now in the 2020s, and then of course you're going to have the exhaust outlets tuck beneath the bumper for that cleaner appearance. Overall, a really good looking three-row crossover in a market where a lot of the mainstream competitors have kind of boring looking vehicles. Then hopping inside the 2026 Hyundai Palisade, it is a 1-2 punch. You get the retro exterior styling, but then you also have a mid-century modern look for the interior, which I think is going to age very, very well over the next few years. There's almost this sense of intention that Hyundai intended to make this vehicle look good, that it's going to be luxurious, it's going to make a great first impression. So many mainstream manufacturers wouldn't do this. They wouldn't go through the great lengths of having the full digital gauge cluster and infotainment system blend in seamlessly with the dashboard. Instead, a lot of manufacturers just throw on a touchscreen on top of the dashboard and it looks cheap and very, very tacky. But take a look at the driving environment. You have physical buttons on the dashboard beneath that infotainment system. Quick access icons for the home, map, search, and media, seek and track. Physical dials for the volume and tuning and the dual zone climate control. This is exactly what everyone's looking for right now, and better yet, you get this wood grain trim look too. Intention. I love to see that. Very, very intended to make this vehicle look good. This is almost a Volvo-like interior, maybe even a Lexus-like interior. That means a lot for a vehicle that is from a mainstream manufacturer. And of course, this is a calligraphy coming in at $60,000. This undercuts a lot of luxury rivals too. Why spend 80 or 90 grand for a BMW or Audi when you can get this at $60,000? This is where the Palisade really is at its best for 2026. You also get a tech-filled cabin too, where the technology blends in seamlessly with the dashboard. Again, intention. With that digital gauge cluster, it's somewhat customizable, not super in-depth. There's not a lot of intuitiveness to it, but I think a lot of you are looking for that type of simplicity. For the infotainment system, this is the new Kia Hyundai software, which I kind of don't like, but I think a lot of you will prefer the menu layout, the icons. It's all going to be right here, and better yet, the resolution and quality is an upgrade over last generation. Now you will have the onboard navigation system. You can scroll through a number of different menus as well. You have a dash cam too with the calligraphy. Really cool stuff here. And also you have a plethora of camera angles to choose from. So when you are backing out of tight spots or parking in a garage, you'll have plenty of visibility. Continuing on, we had that button layout again, but the circular shape here, it's all circular, it's all free-flowing, and the color contrast really stands out for this vehicle. Then you're going to have touch-sensitive icons for your AC, front and rear defrosters, fan speed, fan direction, heated and ventilated seats if equipped. Some people might not like that, but it's at least within arm's reach, so I can live with that particular layout aspect. You also have a drive mode selector too for Eco, Normal, Sport, and My Drive. Also a terrain mode too, so if you're taking on some snow or the off-road, you can do that here with the Palisade. For the center console, you have a nice floating bridge here with your wireless phone charging pad, your 3 USB-C inputs, also your 2 cup holders. Obviously, there's going to be a center storage compartment, and above will be a dual-pane panoramic moonroof, which brings in a lot of natural light to the interior. Also, the ambient lighting too. Subtle touch there. It really sets the mood when you are behind the wheel late at night. Then also found for the interior, with this being a 3-row crossover and family-friendly SUV, is the fact that it is family-friendly. For the second row, you have right around 43 inches of legroom. That is right. That's going to be class-leading in this market. Now, the third row passengers are going to get right around 32 inches of legroom. That isn't class-leading, but I think more than enough for smaller kids to sit back there pretty comfortably. The one thing that's really great about the Hyundai Palisade, too, is that passengers in a vehicle like this at around $60,000 are going to feel like VIPs. They got heated and ventilated outboard seats, and there's also climate control as well. So you can stay nice and warm or cool depending on the time of year. And with the leather seats, they're very comfortable and plush found throughout. This right here is where the Hyundai Palisade has really improved. I think they've done a really good job with this vehicle overall, and why it's so high up on my list of vehicles I have featured this year. Typically, for a lot of manufacturers, they do really well with the first generation, and then they fall flat on their faces for the second generation. I don't think Hyundai did that this time. I think for the second generation, it's even better than its predecessor, and we're seeing that with the styling, the technology, interior space. It has it all. It's one of the better 3-row SUVs you can buy right now, especially for a non-luxury vehicle. At $60,000 for the top trim, this is most certainly going to embarrass a lot of the luxury brands out there in 2026. And it does just that. It embarrasses a lot of luxury brands, and heck, maybe even mainstream manufacturers as well. Hyundai has always been seen as a more luxury brand in the modern age with the Palisade, and they've doubled down on that. I mean, take a look at the Chevrolet Traverse, maybe even the Ford Explorer. The fit and finish out of the Palisade is far and away better. Then when you're comparing this to luxury brands like Audi, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, it undercuts all three of those rivals substantially, even on the higher end. So pricing-wise, you can buy one of these with all-wheel drive at around $41,000 on the lower end, and then with the calligraphy, you're spending like $60,000. $60 grand for the high end with all the bells and whistles and features included for this vehicle. Whereas if you're looking at, say, a BMW or Audi, you're spending $70,000, $80,000, maybe even $90,000. So the value is there. That's where the Palisade, I think, is a very strong competitor in this class. Now, easing into the cons here for the 2026 Hyundai Palisade, I can promise you this right now. This list is very, very short and only pertains to the performance. If you're looking for a practical crossover, you got that here. But with the engine options, I would steer clear of the V6. That's just my take. Has nothing to do with the efficiency, but rather the straight line speed and the sluggish nature of this naturally aspirated V6. You're going to receive right around 287 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque. It is paired with an 8-speed automatic transmission. The transmission is not the problem here. It's going to be the fact that with the V6, it's just a bit more lethargic. However, there is a silver lining and there's some good news. You are going to have a hybrid powertrain here for this new generation, and you guys are definitely going to like these numbers. So with this 2.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, you are going to receive 329 horsepower and 339 pound-feet of torque, and it is going to be paired with a 6-speed automatic. I think this is the way to go for 2026. Better efficiency, better performance. It's going to be more enjoyable. Really completes this vehicle in more ways than one, because on one hand, you're going to have that performance in a straight line. You're going to be able to enter highways and pass over drivers safely. But then also you get that interior technology, interior spacing, and overall practicality. So it really is checking off all the boxes if you choose the right powertrain for the 2026 model. And then the last con here for the Palisade, much like we saw last generation, is that there is no sporty model per se. Laterally, you're not going going to have the handling and capability of some rivals out there in this market, especially on the higher end. When you get to $60,000 for the Calligraphy, you might find some 3-row crossovers that handle better, that corner better, and feel a bit more agile and athletic. But I got to remember this when it comes to what you're looking for out of a 3-row crossover, and not for just this particular award, is the fact that most likely you're just looking for a family-friendly vehicle that can get you to point A to point B, and the Palisade does that. It's just that on the performance end, I think there are some weak points there that Hyundai maybe doesn't need to address, but hopefully at some point they do. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video for the 2026 Hyundai Palisade, and also its nomination for the 2025 Boston Auto Blog Car of the Year Award. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about the 2026 Hyundai Palisade, and also let me know what you think is going to be next on our list of nominees for this award. Guys, once again, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I will see you guys next time.